What is up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Fourth and 15. I am Mel. Thank you guys for joining us. Today is going to be a little bit different because I got not one, not two, not three, but a plethora of people joining me today. So let me introduce them all at one time. We got Davion, LeBrian, and Anthony. Gentlemen, welcome to the show.
What up, though?
How
Yo,
you
what's
doing?
good?
All right. So I appreciate you guys being with me today. If you're listening in Detroit, thank you for tuning.
Oh wow, a
For
disconnection.
sure.
Is he still there,
For
Mel?
sure.
In. If you're listening in Cleveland, thank you for very much for tuning in. Um, not a lot to, not a lot to talk about, so let's get right into it.
All right.
Clearly, we all saw the Super Bowl, and it was definitely a snooze fest. Seahawks won. It was pretty much a no-brainer. They avenged their loss when Beast Mode was still with the team. However, we got to go into the offseason. So, what are you gentlemen hearing, seeing, thinking the for most of the league carousel, the turnover, not only just at the head coaching spot, but some coordinator spot. So what are you guys thinking? What are you seeing? What are you hearing on your ends of what's about to happen in the NFL offseason, being that the draft is coming so close?
I think
I
one of the
don't want
most
to.
interesting. I think one of the most interesting pieces is for the first time in a long time, the AFC North is making a complete change. You got three new head coaches at some of the premier teams. So you got the whole Mike McCarthy going to the Steelers, which is going to be a big thing. They want to see if they can still go over 500 with having him as their new head coach. Then you have Jesse Minster going to the Baltimore Ravens, and of course the Cleveland Browns having Todd Monken. Does the power structure change in that powerful division? I kind of want to see how that's going to take place and what's going to happen with that.
I think that
I
is.
did.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. I just didn't think about that part.
Yeah, I think it's reminiscent of what we were looking at last season. There was a lot of struggles in our division. Our division. It. I can understand why we made so many coaching changes. The only thing that I'm gonna still say I am surprised about is that Cincinnati still kept their head coach. I know that's been a big thing. Like I would, you'd be surprised to look at every single coach that got fired, got rid of, and you look at our like why is that? Why is he the only coach that's standing? And
Because
I would actually love to hear that. Why is that?
the Bengals are cheap. That's why. The
I
Bengals
heard
don't
that.
want to spend money. The Bengals sell used TVs out the stadium. They like, look, man, this this
You
this is the best we got. You feel me? We can't pay
Hey,
him and
hey, that
not
was
be here. So
that was that was community service. Those TV prices, okay?
come on,
Those
man.
some good Hey,
Come
listen,
on.
there was some
This
good prices over there.
listen. My thing is, as far as the AFC North goes, for the first time, if ever, it feels like it's actually wide open. Because realistically, Zach Taylor probably should have been gone. But the Bengals doing us a favor by keeping him.
You know what? I got to stop y'all right there because y'all bagged, and that's not just y'all, it's mainstream media as well. Sean Taylor, or excuse me, Zach Taylor gets bagged. He get banged on
You didn't even
every
know his
week
name. See,
because I'm thinking of another Taylor. But realistically, he gets run through the ringer every week, and I'm gonna equate this to another situation in the same division in the other conference, which is the NFC North. Remember Matt Nagy? He got dealt a bad hand, and when he told him what he needed, they did nothing. Let's not
I gotta
forget that. Let's not forget
hold
he went to the playoffs with the same team 2 years in a row. 1 year 13-3, the other year 10-6, and there was no change.
I
So,
got some pushback against
so,
that
so the
against
so the answer,
Zach Taylor though.
but to answer your question about Zach Taylor, yes, absolutely, the Bengals are cheap. That front office been cheap. That front office been so cheap. They out cheaping Jason Pitts. Okay,
All
we
right,
know
so
this,
that's my
but
mistake because I shouldn't have said Zach Taylor. I should have said the Bengals as a staff, crew, organization, all of it. You feel me?
Yeah.
Because from top down, like everybody knows, outside of Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. That team is horrible. You have no offensive line. You have no defense. You don't want to invest into it in any way. For some reason, you paid to keep a number 2 receiver when you should have got rid of him. Like, none of it makes any sense. So, all of them, I ain't going to say Zach Taylor, all of them can get it.
But
But
I also want to push back on that because there is what coach doesn't get put through the ringer. Every single coach in the NFL gets put through the ringer,
yes, they
even if
do.
you're a winning coach. So
Yes, they do. But like
I
Zach
Yeah.
Taylor gets it the worst because of the organization. If
I
we're
don't
looking at
know.
this if we're looking at
If
this
you look,
realistically, he gets it the worst because of the organization. When was the last person I can remember them paying for real was Carson Palmer. Just off the top of my head, that's the last person I can remember them paying a substantial
they
amount of
paid
money to stay.
they paid Andy Dalton too, but people were very confused by the Andy Dalton. Like, why are you keeping him? Because
I-
everybody, the fans thought he was a mid quarterback, but they still kept saying, "Hey, he's the
If
quarterback. What you gonna do about it?"
if that was the case, then Carson was a mid quarterback too, because he never got past the first round when he did make the playoffs.
So, I mean, as far as the quarterback thing go, at the time, it kind of made sense keeping Andy Dalton because we can always be like, yeah, this quarterback is mid, just get a new one. But where you gonna find a new one at? Like,
That's a great
it's
question.
not that easy.
And
It's
and
not.
and while because you brought it up, this year's draft class for quarterbacks is not the greatest.
I'm not even sold on Mendoza, honestly.
I was
I mean, the one that you thought would be the second quarterback, I think it was Dante Moore, ended up going back to college, so that kind of set people up. Like, hold up, I thought we had one. You know.
I'm
no,
glad
you
he went
don't.
back.
I don't. The NIL is gonna hurt a lot of things more than it helps. If we're being subjective about this, if we're being honest, this is gonna hurt a
Yeah.
lot more things than it helps. And I feel this is one of those situations where when you come out of college, you're making more than you did if you were gonna be the first 10 picks.
Mhm.
So why leave?
But then also
That's
gives you a little bit more power because now you can say, and I just want to say, I know we're live, so I'll be careful with the wording here. I know that I believe, what is it, the Giants have the number 2 pick? I believe so. It makes it to where if you're a player and you see a certain team, you're like, nah, I don't want to go there. Hey, I'm gonna go back to school. I'll talk to y'all when somebody else gets that pick. It gives them
But
a little bit more power to control their destiny.
this isn't the first time that that's been thought about or done, though. Remember, we saw it with Bo, we saw it with John Elway, we saw it with Eli. This ain't nothing new. However,
I'm
I
sorry,
have
it's the Jets that has the second pick.
yeah, they just got the second pick.
it don't matter. They in New York and they suck. It's just what it is. Sorry if
Okay.
you to my sister, she's a Giants fan. I'm sorry, it's just the truth. Get over it.
Why I'm
But
about to say, why you apologizing? Don't
because
apologize for telling the truth.
I know she's gonna call me later. She's gonna call me later. But to be honest about this,
Mhm.
what incentive, if you're a college player, especially at the quarterback position, right here, right now, with the NIL doing what it's doing, what incentive do you really have to leave?
I think one of the things that can come from them staying is that they actually develop. There are some players who actually come out a bit too early, and I think that is one of the positives that can come from NIL. And I know it gives that player empowerment as one of the big movements that can go through as well. But I always go in the air of being able to support the kids, man. At the end of the day, as much as we want them to say they all right, these are grown, no, they're kids. Most of the people that are coming out of there being able to have all that responsibility on their head and things that's coming going into the NFL and the pressures that come with that. I would say as the biggest thing for me, I think it just incentivizes them to be able to stay longer instead of rushing out for money.
That's
I
why I'm
mean,
sad.
there's
I'm glad Dante Moore went back because I mean, how old? He only like 20, right? Like
mhm.
sometimes you just need to get like more
Yeah.
starts under your belt. And honestly, if NIL wasn't a thing, he probably would have just looked at the money. It was like, it's gonna be life changing money if I go top 3. So I'm leaving. But now with NIL, he probably stay a little longer. develop a little more. The only thing that's weird to me is the fact that Raiola transferred there is just going to sit on the bench for a year. Like, but at the end of the day, like more experience, like the better,
And you know what?
I
I
think
gotta send a shout out to Rico McGee of the Rulers Minute because he said this very same thing that Davion is saying. Because there was a time you probably don't remember, but there was a time where quarterbacks getting drafted had to sit and learn
yeah,
and develop. Like there is a man who plays in Pittsburgh. I ain't even want him there, but he did halfway decent. His name's Aaron Rodgers. He sat behind Brett Favre for like 5 years before he even got a shot.
and
And
Jordan
look,
Love sat behind him.
yeah,
yeah.
not John Elway, but
Steve Young,
yeah, that's who I was thinking of. Thank you.
yeah,
Steve Young sat
Even
behind
Tom,
Joe Montana.
even Tom Brady sat behind somebody before he actually
I think Tom put a hit out on Drew.
played.
Hey, everybody put a hit out on Drew because that wasn't the first time that happened to him.
Why does that remind me of Tyrod Taylor?
Same thing.
But
Same
think
thing.
about
It's
it,
like,
Baker, and then when he went to the Chargers,
Mm-hmm.
he
and
got
remember
mysteriously.
Buffalo.
Oh yeah, that
Yeah.
mysterious shot that he got.
Yeah, so but realistic, because I know they're gonna come for us later. But to move forward with this conversation, what are you guys thinking is gonna happen in the draft? Early draft predictions, because I'm curious to hear what you guys are thinking.
Hey, let me ask you something real quick though, just about the Dante Moore, and I'll make it quick. I know we said he needed another year, but doesn't this jeopardize the money he can get next year when you look at the potential of the next quarterback draft class, which is loaded? I don't know if he'll go in the top 10 because next year
Now
is going to be loaded.
it's
We
gonna
hear that
be
almost every year.
No,
thank
think about it. You got Manning, you got Sellers coming out. That class is going to have some monsters in it.
but here's the thing: loaded don't always mean good. And if you know,
Nah.
you know, because there is only one draft class that every quarterback class coming out after that said year, there's only one draft class that they compare it to, and that's the class of 83. And we have
Drake,
not seen a draft class of quarterbacks
Drake
like
May,
that since then. Boy, stop.
Drake May's class. Hold
Boy,
up,
stop. Boy,
Caleb Williams.
You know
It's
He
what?
been
went to the
2 years.
Bears.
It's been 2 years. Come on, man.
Drake
Even
May,
though it's been 2 years, they're not bad right now. They're showing that they have promise with all three of those quarterbacks that win,
you're saying that,
right?
and I don't
And
agree.
then
So
you
you,
also have Bo Nix.
Anthony, you get this. You get that. You get that. Take that with you because what did we see in the Super Bowl with Drake May? He got throttled.
I'm about to
You're
say he
right.
was
And
panicking.
he was.
No, it wasn't even
He's
a panic. It wasn't even a panic. They
Toward
hated
man,
him.
after halftime, he was pressing crazy, just throwing up stuff that I would throw up. So
I agree with you guys, but what I'm saying is when it comes to progress, and you saying that somebody has showed the ability to where they can be good, that crop of quarterbacks just showed that they could be pretty good.
But they
Now,
are
I'm not
not the
saying they're
class.
winning Super Bowls.
They are not the
We're
class of 83. That's the problem.
you're
They're
going to
That's
not. I
compare.
agree with you. They're
You're
not.
going.
But we haven't seen a class like that. This is
We're
probably one that
comparing
just gives you
something.
average.
If you don't get a complete evaluation of a quarterback for quite a while, if we're looking at just evaluating how good a quarterback is. I understand what you're saying and how good he was this year, but we look at like Jaden Daniels, he didn't have the best year. But also
smoking the
looking at
slump.
Sam Darnold, if we're looking at Sam Darnold as the quarterback that he is, you don't get a complete evaluation until later on. If we're comparing any type of quarterback class to anyone. And we're already talking about a quarterback class that's already been retired, has been out, and they had their complete careers to be able to recognize how good they have been. I think that's just unfair to the young guys that are playing right now. I'm gonna be
Truth,
completely honest.
truth be told, I'm glad you said that, Brian. I don't think that is not fair. I don't think that is not fair. Here's why. Dan Marino, John Elway, two of the greatest passers ever. They changed the game. Now, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, two off the top of my head. Game changers. We haven't seen game changers like that since 83. John Elway, Steve Young. I mean, if you're thinking, we're talking about longevity. Well, I am. I'll say that. We're talking about longevity. We have not seen a game changer like Dan Marino since Peyton. Let's be honest. And the Colts pretty much lucked up with the horseshoe on the helmet when they got Peyton. Drew Brees.
They made the right
flashes.
decision. Remember, because they could have chose the other who person that we not gonna name over Peyton.
I mean, they could have chose a lot of people over Peyton. They could have chose a lot of people.
You know what I'm talking about.
But what I'm saying is we haven't seen that out of these last 2 or 3 draft classes.
I can say this. I'm gonna put
they're not there.
I will say this because is that the fault of the player or the fault of the organizations? Because when you're looking at Peyton Manning, he led the league in interceptions quite a bit. He didn't come out being a complete product when he first came in. He was a good quarterback, but the numbers and stuff that he would put up, he probably would have got either benched or taken out.
But he's also
organization's been doing things.
At the time, he was also a more complete quarterback than most of the quarterbacks that have come out now. That would be my argument.
I think the issue now is really just like a development problem, honestly, because I was actually talking to a friend about this recently. Shout out to Jordan. So we were saying, because none of us were alive for the class of 83. That was before our time. Cool.
It was 3 years before me.
Thinking, all right, but for like us, right, we still had Brady. We had Manning, like both Mannings. We had Breeze. The NFL now is so different that I feel like instead of like those type of quarterbacks that even we grew up with would win at the line versus quarterbacks now have so much running ability that even if they can't necessarily decide what coverage it is beforehand, the fact that they can move better than a lot of quarterbacks back then, they'll just figure it out. Not only that, the coaches don't have time because if you drive a quarterback, number one, if you're not winning by year 2 or 3, you out of there.
Yep. Can't develop nobody.
That is true. I'll give you that. I'll give you guys that.
They don't do as much as they can to make sure these quarterbacks are NFL ready. Because they want to go with, hey, this is going to fit my system for right now. You do this, and this is going to at least get us a chance to make the playoffs. They're not thinking about the long term. Hey, this is what's going to prepare you for the NFL. So I think they had a story with Jackson Dart, who got drafted by the Giants. They basically, I think it was John Gruden mentioned to him during one of his film sessions, okay, give me a count. He said, hype. He said, no, give me one of your snap counts.
Fair enough.
All
right.
That's what I'm saying. It's just unfair. There is a point where you're looking at these kids who still haven't truly even developed in who they are going to be, and we're comparing them to legends. I'm just saying. I know we can talk about that, but looking back, not every legend started out like that.
True.
So
very true. Very true.
I know we mentioned Sam Darnold. I know we mentioned Sam Darnold, but if I'm him, I'm calling Lamar and Josh after the Super Bowl. Like, hey, what's up? What y'all doing? I'm just at my Super Bowl party.
All right, we're gonna take a quick commercial break, but when we come back, we already saw dunk contest, 3-point contest. We're gonna talk about a little NBA and what could happen with what we saw at the trade deadline. So we'll see that, and we'll be back. You're watching 4th and 15. You're on the 216 Sports Network.
Got a taste for something sweet? Planning a party? Or just want a midnight snack? Clarissa's Confections is a local treat maker here in Cleveland and has made many delectable and delicious treats for the young and old. Her treats are made to order and can be customized to your needs and any occasion. To place your orders, email her at sweetsbyclarice@gmail.com or call her at 440-805-4303. If you're looking for a good brand of clothing at affordable prices, then TGBG is just for you. Hats, shirts, hoodies, and custom gear all at your fingertips. And just in time for the weekend is Free Ship Friday. Free shipping on all orders. Just use the code FREESHIPFRIDAY at checkout. And all Godfidence items are 10% off. Head on over to tgbgbrand.com and get your orders in for your custom clothing now. TGBG is the official outfitter of the 216 Sports Network. TGBG, to God be the glory.
If your tees never feel quite right, listen. This one from TGBG brand is super soft, light, and has that perfect street fit. Unisex, premium cotton blend, your new go-to. Grab one now.
All right, we are back. And Jacob finally joined us. Jacob,
Hey, you
what
guys
up,
doing?
buddy?
What's up with you, man?
All right. So we said we was talked about the
Oh.
NFL, and we're gonna fast forward to the NBA. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. All-Star break does not have the same flair that it used to. Like we used to be ready for the All-Star game, but clearly this is not what we are used to. So I'm gonna leave that alone. However, we saw some trades that are very interesting, and I'm still scratching my head. Even though it's working, it still got me scratching my head. And that trade was the Cavs trading for James Harden.
I can go into that.
But where I'm going with this is, out of all the trades, which one shocked you the most coming out of the trade deadline?
The thing that shocked me the most was Giannis not being traded. Just
Yeah, that's
because,
probably that's the biggest thing.
yes, you've been hearing about that since last year, and even leading up to it, you kept hearing like pretty much every team was trying to get a deal done just for him to stay there. And I don't understand it, because I'm one of them people. I'm in a strong belief where if you got a star and you not winning, or it seemed like they don't want to be there, just trade him. Because what you keeping him for?
The reason I'm gonna say this is because I've seen this firsthand. I'm not saying I can fully speak on this, but I've seen it firsthand. The problem with that scenario is there's a power struggle there. And when there becomes a power struggle of, I want to go, we want you to stay, what we got to do, y'all ain't doing it, I want out. And I'm not even going to say that this trade deadline was blown. What I'm going to say is, for Giannis to stay, there had to be some type of financial incentive that's either coming or is already in place for next year. Now, that's not to say it's true. That's not to say it's true. What I'm saying is, this is the type of stuff I've seen happen because a team doesn't want him to go, or said player to go. Best scenario I can throw out there is Mike. A whole bunch of teams wanted Mike every trade deadline. I'm not leaving. You want to play with me, you come to me. But
Yeah, honestly, I was a little surprised about that. Not really, because they was asking for a lot. Like they was asking for too much for Giannis. That teams want to go away from that. But I was more surprised about Ja because, like Davion was saying, you know, when a team has a bad relationship with the player, they usually tend to get them out of there quickly. I thought Ja that everyone would have been traded, but he's still in Memphis right now.
Yeah, that's one of
I
those
think it's
trades
because
that I
Ja,
was looking at too. I remember, I think I even
Ja,
when we were talking about it in our group chat, I actually thought we were going to trade Ja Morant for Darius Garland, which I thought would have been actually a good situation for both of them finding new places. Um, but yeah, I would say the one that kind of surprised me was actually the Jaren Jackson Jr. trade. I thought that was an odd one.
Yeah.
I didn't. I felt as though Utah is in a weird state about how it's going about its this whole tanking situation and all these things. And I thought they were in a good place. Honestly, they had a lot of good young talent. They got players who are developing very well. And then you go and you trade for Jaron Jackson Jr. And then after you trade for him, you decide you want to sit him for the rest of the season. It just it's odd. And I'm very respectful towards what Danny Ainge does as a GM. And I'm looking at it, it may be a changing of how GMs go about doing things. But I think they may not just saying it at this window with OKC and everything that's going on, may not be a good time to do some certain things. But I still am kind of baffled by that. The James Harden trade, I'm not baffled by. It actually makes a lot of sense. But I'll let y'all speak on that because I'll speak on that a little bit later, if possible.
Giannis
Speaking,
just put out a Giannis just put out a message saying he doesn't want people to think he's a quitter. He's committed to the Bucks.
yeah,
Hey,
but s-
I'm committed to whoever paying me too.
No.
we we all are to a degree, to a degree. But Brian, you brought up an interesting point. Speaking of tanking, it has been released and documented that Adam Silver is talking and in discussions about fixing the issues for tanking in the NBA. Good idea, bad idea.
Good idea.
Good ideas, I would
Good
say.
idea.
Look at Washington and how they're dealing with when they got Trey Young, they decided to sit him, and they've been it's weirdly a couple of different teams who decided I'm just gonna sit these players and we're not even gonna play, we're not even gonna have them do anything. We're going to
Maybe
take the
they
fine.
hurt.
No,
Maybe they
you,
stumped their peak. Hold on, listen.
Come on, man.
It's Anthony Davis. Maybe he stumped his peak. He started getting out of bed, and now he got an injury. It could happen, technically speaking.
yeah. But
I mean, two things could be true.
before we get off the subject of trades, I do want to address the James Harden situation. Um, Mainly, the thing that I look at is most people don't know about the second apron. Most people don't understand how that works and the consequences that can come with the second apron. And that trade was big on financial ramifications when it came to the James Harden Darius Garland trade. It gave you a year off the amount of money that you're going to be getting or having to spend out. It gave you a player who is usually, rarely if hurt, he's usually going to be more consistent than not when it comes to actually playing. I don't know about the playoff ramifications, but you're getting a player who is great fit for distributing it to the bigs that you have. He is competitive now, and you also have Rich Paul, who had admitted that he already went to Kobe Altman talking about Darius Garland's going to be gone by next year. If things don't go, he's going to ask for a trade. There's going to be this that's going to happen. So you have a window of being able to make that decision. And if most people don't know, under that second apron, if you continue to be under the second apron, which we are the only team that is under the second apron, you lose out on more than just, oh yeah, you can't spend as much. No, there's more than fines. You lose out on draft picks. You lose out on your ability to trade. You lose out on a lot of things if you do not get under that second apron. And I believe the Cavs were also trying to get in the way of trying to get Giannis. They were trying to set up a bigger trade that was going to end off with them getting under the apron as much as they possibly can, and be able to do more flexibility when it comes to those multi-team trades that they can do. Because it is the ramifications financially for the Cavs and as a team were big on this trade. As much as people would say, all right, Darius Garland is the young player, they're already looking at their agent already talking about, oh yeah, he's gonna have to get traded. He already having that.
And and Brian, I'm glad that you said that because a lot of people, a lot of fans don't know this that the Cavs are one of the few teams that are consistently on the luxury tax. And
It's
for
been a
those
while.
and for those at home that don't know and don't pay attention, the luxury tax is a tax that teams have to pay when they've overpaid their entire roster. And that is big because Gilbert has been paying that luxury tax since LeBron's second coming or second
I
arrival.
mean, you can do that when you're the richest owner too. So I'm just gonna say that.
You can, but like you said, in the long run, it hurts the team and it
Mhm.
hurts what you can do because you don't need to go for a trade. You paying three different players, playing three different players. Excuse me, playing three different players, $100 million. What you need a trade for? Well, we
I
trade because
actually
we trying to
give
get out of this contract.
What
I
you say?
give Dan Gilbert a lot of credit just for the fact that you could tell that he learned from when LeBron left the first time because he
Mm-hmm.
didn't want to spend. And now it's like you can't even blame him because you see it on paper. You're like, yo, we spending all this money for a team that's like 500. What's the point? And somebody had to be the odd man out because the only way you can justify paying everybody like that is if you're winning. If you're not winning, odd man out, somebody got to go. You look at it, Darius Garland, you always hurt. This
Mm-hmm.
fit has been weird with you and Donovan Mitchell since he got here. So he was the odd man out. Truthfully, I thought it would be Jared Allen.
You
But
ain't getting rid of Fro Magnum. What's wrong with you?
look, to me, I just thought they would go all offense. That's just how I looked at it. And I think the James Harden trade on paper is a good trade. I also think it's a good trade for the rest of the season. My question is, when you get to the playoffs and you get to the second round, then what? James Harden got a history either choking or being hurt. Evan
Mhm.
Mobley hurt. Jared Allen hurt. So it
So
all still falls on Donovan Mitchell anyway. So I'm not even mad at the Garland trade. I just more so got a lot of questions about who you traded for.
I can see
Because
that being.
I was never worried about the regular season. I'm thinking playoffs.
we all are.
Even Donovan
I
Mitchell ain't
want
never been past the
I
second
want to
round.
say again. I want to go back to something I said earlier. I believe they were trying to get Giannis. I believe James Harden was a part of the trade. They wanted to get more going into it, but then they wound up stepping out, not trying. They say, "All right, we ain't trading Giannis." Yada yada yada. On top of, I think the Cavs have a very good player development thing going on that they have an advantage over most other teams, and there are players that they have on their team that are going to be able to step up, that are going to get better. Look at Jalen Tyson and how good he's been playing. You have a great set of young players who are waiting in the wings to come up, and nowadays, based on how things are going in the NBA with that the apron, you're going to have that. Players aren't valued as highly if you're only a specialist. Look at how much you traded for Trey Young. A lot of players, if you're just only good at one thing, they're not going to be looking at you as being worth these multi-draft picks. On top of, it's hard to go about this structuring and financial manipulation when we're looking at the collective bargaining agreement being the way it is. There's a lot of money being put out, even for players who aren't doing much, who are like DeAndre Hunter, things like that. You're paying a lot of money for players who aren't stars, and that makes it for you to lack a lot of flexibility as well. So I think there are a lot of things on the outside of just being basketball that made this move possible. And I think, again, if I may be incorrect on this, but I really do believe the big reason why we're looking at James Harden being with the Cavs is that they were targeting another player, be it Anthony Davis, be it Giannis. They were targeting other people, and you're saying Jared Allen would have been man out. I believe he would have been. I believe he would have been one of those players that would have been out if they were to be able to find that other target that they were trying to do. One reason why they were maneuvering the way that they were maneuvering. So yeah, I feel it was odd trading for James Harden, but if you look at it as a big picture of oh yeah, they're trying to trade for a third player, that makes a lot more sense.
You're right.
The Cavs,
But
the
before
Cavs are
we
building for LeBron next year.
but before we finish that, we're going to take another quick commercial break because I want to continue this because LeBron said some things that really stuck with me. So when we come back, we'll finish this NBA conversation. Watching 4th and 15 here on the 216 Sports Network.
Are you ready for a snack or a treat that satisfies that sweet tooth? Well, Clarissa's Confections has what you need. All her treats are custom made and centered around your taste buds' desires. Place your orders now by emailing her at sweetsbycarice@gmail.com or call her at 440-805-4303. If you're looking for a good brand of clothing at affordable prices, then TGBG is just for you. Hats, shirts, hoodies, and custom gear all at your fingertips. And just in time for the weekend is Free Ship Friday. Free shipping on all orders. Just use the code FREESHIPFRIDAY at checkout. And all Godfidence items are 10% off. Head on over to tgbgbrand.com and get your orders in for your custom clothing now. TGBG is the official outfitter of the 216 Sports Network. TGBG, to God be the glory.
It's taco day, bitch.
If your tees never feel quite right, listen. This one from TGBG brand is super soft, light, and has that perfect street fit. Unisex, premium cotton blend, your new go-to. Grab one now.
And we are back. Back on the NBA talk. Brian, before we went to commercial, you said something that was really telling when you mentioned that the pay scale for players now is not the same as it was years ago. And you are right, because there were guys that got paid just to do one thing. Dennis Rodman, for example, got paid just to rebound. Dennis Rodman averaged 6 to 10 points depending on the year, but he averaged 110 rebounds every game. That don't work no more. You got to be multifaceted. So with these trades, to allude to what Davion said, I agree. There has to be some substance, especially with this Cavs team, because as it looks right now, the Cavs are sitting, I want to say fifth. I'm going to look that up and be for sure, but they are sitting actually fourth in the Eastern Conference right now. So they are literally a game behind New York, 2 games behind Boston, and 6 games behind 7 officially. 7 behind Detroit. I didn't think Detroit was going to even look good this year, but hey, shit, should it be a weird year? I'm not going to be disappointed. But this, Davion brought up a valid point as well, because this is going to be playoff time pretty soon, and questions need to be answered. Can the Cavs make it past the second round? Can they essentially beat a Boston team or beat a Detroit team? Because realistically, whoever comes out of the Central Division is realistically going to be between 1 and 3. in the playoff seeding. So that first round is it's gonna be easy. I ain't gonna say easy. It's gonna be more for you than it is for 4, 5, 6, realistically. So moving forward after the All-Star break, what are you guys seeing, or what are your thoughts gonna be? Does anything change for the East or the West as far as what we see and who makes the playoffs?
I think,
Uh,
mind me going first. I think when we're looking at how the NBA landscape is going, especially in the East, we have a lot of fresh teams going into the playoffs. These are like their first time being in a dominant position. Like you said, Detroit, it wasn't for sure that they're going to be as good as they are going to be. And I think experience is one of those things that's going to pay off in the playoffs. And I think this is looking back at James Harden being a player that he is. I really think he's actually going to perform well this coming season. I think there's a point where I think he has matured a bit when it comes to how he views the game and how he goes about things. He's not going to be looked at as being that focal point. He's going to be more of that person who can create for other people. You just got to look at not only are we getting going to be getting healthier as the season goes on, because we still haven't got Masters back and Evan Mobley has been out. But you got to look at how great Jared Allen has been playing even before James Harden got here. How they have been utilizing him has been great. He's been being more aggressive. He's been doing a lot more things. And I think with him being here, it's not just about his ability to score, it's about his ability to facilitate and make other players better. And I think the Cavs will be able to go a lot further due to that. But Boston is hampered and injured. Orlando, I don't even know where they are actually right now when it comes to that.
they seventh.
Orlando is 7th right now.
All right. They've been injured and dealing with their own thing. Um, there has been a lot of injuries, inconsistency. There has been a lot of moves that just have happened that it may change things. Um, but I feel like a lot of teams are either giving up on the idea of doing anything this year, or I just I don't think they have the experience to actually be able to get past what the Cavs bring because we have a lot of stuff coming at them. Like you said, multifaceted players. I think there's not many players on our team that only just do one thing. I even get like Sam Merrill who just went off shooting like a million for a million. He's a great help defender. He is multifaceted. He is a great. He knows how to pass. He knows how to do all these different things. And the Cavs have a lot of depth. They have a lot of it. I can see them going far this year. There's a reason why most people are looking at them as being the favorite in the East over Detroit because Detroit lacks that experience as much as the Cavs have.
Not only that, but I mean, we know who coaches Detroit. We know
Yeah,
very
they've
well.
had
And
some.
even when he was here, regular season, we'll look good, fall apart in the playoffs. So, but like every team in the East really has questions at this point, which is why I think the Cavs were so all in at the trade deadline because they're like, we're gonna make a run now is the time to do it. Because realistically, like nobody really expects anything from the Heat. Nobody expects anything from Charlotte. Nobody expects anything from Toronto.
It's
Realistically, like
exciting though, because
it
you see
it
all these
is.
teams that been you've been seeing all these teams that have been building up to be in the playoffs at this point. Like Detroit, you got the Magic, and just like you said, the Hornets. They all been building the last couple years to get to this point. So it's going to be interesting to see how the rest of the season is going to shake out, and these playoff matchups. Because like Detroit, they possibly can get bounced in the first round. You never know. I mean, it's gonna be quite interesting to see all these young teams who've been building up to this point to play in the playoffs.
Now, see, my issue is I don't know if y'all remember, but I put it on wax last year when the Cavs was having the season they had. I'm like, at this point, they just still seem soft to me, and I wouldn't be surprised they went home in the second round. I said that
That's why
before
I'm
the playoffs
surprised they
started
didn't
last year
try to trade Jared Allen. 'Cause I look
because
at him as too soft. He was a weak
they
point in
just
our defense
they
last
just
year.
get they
Yo,
get bullied every year in the playoffs. Them two, Mobley and Allen, they just get bullied every year.
Yo,
And
y'all are
at
harsh,
this
man.
point,
Y'all are
He's the
at
reason
this
why we lost, in my opinion, in
I'm see
Indiana.
now I'm not saying that. I ain't going
I'm
that
going
far. You
that
feel me?
far. You know, Indiana was not the better team. There was a tougher team, and in the playoffs,
And
sometimes tougher
yeah,
teams
but
just
Indiana,
win.
I
and
wholeheartedly
Indiana was
believe
the
if
best
if
team.
if if Halliburton didn't get hurt, the Pacers would have won Game 7. I really
Yes.
believe that.
Possibly, you know, we can't talk about hypotheticals, but you know,
Nah, nah.
Yeah.
he
You can't
you
talk.
know, the end of the story is like you said, the Pacers had a chance at Game 7 to win the NBA Finals. That could have been the Cleveland Cavaliers if they wasn't soft, but they were soft. They got out hustled. They got that out everything last year versus the Pacers in the
Yeah.
playoffs. And
But
there's
then
no
Because
way no
if
one can
we
tell me the Pacers were a better team last year.
because if we being
Injuries.
honest,
I don't know if it
I
was about
mean,
being soft. I think it was about being outmatched.
we
Like
say that every single year.
but
No,
the
Every
Cavs
no.
and
single year
The
in the
Pacers,
Cavs
playoffs,
was the
our bigs
Cavs
get
was
the
hurt.
Pacers
definitely was
had
the better team
Dishon.
Hey,
last year.
I gotta say something, man. When it came down to last year, injuries was one of the big ruling things that
Now,
happened.
It's
Darius
every
Garland being
year.
hurt affected
Every
us
year,
terribly. This
Every
is the
year.
reason why we
every year
made the
though.
trade for James Harden. That's what I'm saying. We are in
36.
effect, yes, in effect,
and
36 don't
LeBron is
matter when you talk
95.
about the
What are we
numbers that
saying?
he's doing. What
But that's
that
LeBron.
don't matter.
Don't put LeBron expectations on other players.
Who
Not putting
who
we're
putting
not
them as
putting
LeBron?
we're not putting LeBron expectations on
Because
James
age
Harden. What
doesn't
I'm
matter.
saying is Harden doesn't have an injury history as long as,
There you
the
go.
longest yard, the longest mile. He
He
doesn't
got a
have a
history of choking
history.
though.
History of choking and history of injuries is two different things. I'd rather deal with somebody who has a history of choking than a history of injuries because
But
no,
but
Yeah,
here's why I'm saying that. Here's why I'm saying that. If you have a history of injuries, I can't depend on you when I need you. Now, history of choking, let's go back a little bit. There was a football player and quarterback who had a history of choking. And then he turned it around and won 2 Super Bowls back to back. His name, John Elway. He had been to the mountaintop. He had been to to see what it was like. And every time he got there, it wasn't a good look. He didn't got blew out. He didn't got beat on. And then he finally gets what he needed: a running back, a tight end, and a deep threat wide receiver, and a defense that'll kill you. And he wins 2 Super Bowls. So if we're gonna say that, I'd rather have that than a guy that's not there when I need him. Because if I look to the sideline, hey, let me get you. All right, he ain't
that's why
here.
they got DG up out of
But
here.
but but
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know, but
exactly.
some people end up being like Jim Kelly and always
Hey,
choking in the big moments.
I, don't- I don't think that was just a Jim Kelly thing. I think that was an entire team thing because
yeah.
there's no way you make it to 4 Super Bowls
But also,
and
Oh
you don't come home with at least
man,
one.
I want to also say the thing about John Elway was a team thing based on your what you said
And
because I
that's
think
what
you
and that's what I'm
forgot.
saying. And
So,
that's what I'm
but
saying because maybe James Harden is the piece that they need to at least get them to the Eastern Conference Finals. Now,
Also,
what
don't
happens in
put
the
the scoring
finals?
on James Harden. Let him be the facilitator. If
but
you put the scoring and stuff on his hands, he's gonna choke. And
But that's what you have
I think
Donovan
that's
for.
that's what's going. That's what's happening. That's what
but
we're talking about. That's
And
but
that
when
and that's
stuff gets thick in the playoffs and we need more than just Donovan Mitchell to score, and you put that on James Harden, it we're gonna
but
see
but
how
see,
that plays
I
but
out.
want to also let me say one thing before. I would say one also the other things that was hampering the Cavs is that we had Kenny Atkinson in his first year as a coach. It was his first year coaching the Cavs. There were a lot of things that I felt like we could have did better at. I felt like Jalen Tyson should have had got some run in the playoffs. I felt like Craig Porter Jr. should have got run in the playoffs. I think him understanding, recognizing more about his players going into this season has made it for him to be able to utilize them a lot more. I'm like Craig Porter Jr. is a solid point guard. I think him understanding and utilizing Sam Merrill in the way that he has been using him has been expanding on his ability to coach the Cavs. I think experience is the thing that is going to be the determining factor in these playoffs. And I will say the Cavs have experience. They may have not won everything. They may not have been world beaters when it comes down to it, but I think that is one of those things you learn from those losses. You learn those lessons. And I think the Cavs, out of any team in the league have been dealt a lot of lessons when it comes
Hmm.
down to these playoffs. So I
And we've been
really
getting
feel as
dealt
though,
lessons since 2014, man. Let's call it what it is.
I
yeah.
think
So I,
wasn't the big
That injury bug has been a pain in the butt
wasn't
yeah,
every
every
year,
year since
every
2014.
year.
it's something
wasn't
Let's
to
one
think.
of
watch.
the things you wanted Mobley to be more aggressive and be more involved. He was your road to the championship. So if that
Hmm.
is the case, James Harden is the perfect running partner to make sure that he can reach his full potential.
Look at how good Jared Allen is playing.
Comes
I was about to
I'm
say
bringing up
Jared
that
Allen
forward.
looked great so far.
Jared
So
Allen
far,
looks
yes.
like a beast.
And
So I,
again, and this is why I brought up the Elway situation, because he was in the same situation, different sport, same situation. I need people around me because for a long time, let's be real, who was his running back before he got Terrell Davis? Don't worry, I'll wait.
I'm about to say
also,
I
funnily
can't
enough,
even
we
tell
haven't
you.
even brought up Keon
Who was
Ellis
who?
and Dennis Schroeder being added to the team too. We haven't
Yeah,
even talked about them, and
yeah,
they've been balling.
everybody. I mean, I wasn't sold on Ball, but to begin with, but
You so are I,
I
so I
was.
have a question, Mel. So are you blaming James Harden like non-success in the playoff on his team that he had?
I'm blame the only thing because
Because I was a James
realistically,
Harden fan growing up. We had the best. We
yeah,
had the team. We
he
had
had
everything.
Russell.
We didn't need more pieces.
He
As
had
a
Russell and Westlake. That was a three-headed monster. That was a
who?
coaching
I'm
thing.
not Russell. I'm not talking Russell. I'm talking
Yeah,
about when we had Chris Paul. When we had
And that's what I'm
Clint
saying.
Capella.
That was a coaching thing because there were some coaching errors.
That's not coaching. Is not
and I
missing
think that was
going 0
also
for
timing
27
injuries
versus the
too.
Warriors while you're up 3-2 in the playoffs. They're
Now,
up
didn't
three
Chris Paul
two
get
versus the
injured?
Kevin Durant Warriors, and they missed
Yeah,
27 threes in a row. That's not
Didn't Chris
coaching.
Paul get injured?
Yeah, he got
yeah.
Because
injured.
He
He got
did.
injured in Game
so
6.
that again, I'm going to say there are like the history kind of rewrites itself when we're looking at
But
only winners,
Chris
but
Paul
there's
didn't
a
miss 27
lot of
threes after
things.
he got hurt.
but I
Yeah,
think at that point James Harden, it was either James Harden or bust, so he had to be the start regardless. He's on the team now to where you got Mitchell who can score. You also we discounted Tyson who can score as well. So he got
That
some
mhm.
guys.
entire team can score.
Same
Yeah,
So
the
thing.
it's not
entire team can
all
do
James
almost
Harden.
everything.
That
Like,
Rockets team was the best offensive team that year. They were
but the way
scoring the
it
ball.
goes is it seems like everybody just brings up the game sevens or those last games, but they don't bring up the games before then. What happens with this team if you don't even get to a game seven? You could take them out in 4 or 5. James Harden is good for that. Plus, when you have a running mate like Donovan Mitchell who could say, listen, I know you having one of those crazy games or you're not scoring. Listen, just be the facilitator. Go over there. I can take care of the ball and get the scoring for you. And then when you feeling it, heat check it. But you don't have to force it. Just go with the flow of the offense. In the playoffs, when you have to slow it down, James Harden is one of the best passers in NBA history. When it comes
Yeah,
to doing passes, seeing the floor, say, hey, slow the game down for yourself. Make the right pass, pick and roll so we can get some easy buckets. Either you're going to be able to take it in with your Euro step or alley oop it to Evan or Allen. But either way, you're going to be responsible for us scoring. So we don't need you to
yeah.
do everything. The
I
weight is
want to say again, I'm sorry for interrupting, but I want to at least say this: James Harden is a gamble, but the Cavs need to gamble. There is at this point when everything is going on, and there seems to be the East being wide open. Like you said, you would rather gamble on somebody who is there and have flopped in the playoffs, may have had a past of doing that, but instead of somebody who constantly seems to not be able to make it to the playoffs or is hurt for some reason or another. I don't. I understand the hesitation. I understand how it doesn't seem like it's a for sure thing, but it's never for sure. It is never, especially in the beginning. So we can look at and compare to all the other teams that's going on. But I really feel as though the Cavs have made a significant stride in the trades that they made and the moves that they have made. I really think Kobe Altman is a great GM, not even GM. He's a player, head of player operations. We have a different GM. I don't know his name. You only hear Kobe Altman. We actually got an actual
I
I
look at
thought
James
Kobe
Harden as
Altman
like a
was the
2-year rental.
GM.
Nope,
He's going to
Kobe.
be here for you. James, we're giving James Harden one shot or two shots at playing good in the playoffs. That's more than a gamble.
but that's all you need though.
That's
It's,
trying to go. That's like saying we're going to go to the casino tonight and make $1 million.
but listen,
That's more than a gamble.
Hey, that
all you
to
need is
get it, to win a championship.
We're
That's how
basically
you.
telling James
Sometimes
Harden
you
you
gotta
got
think
this
like
year
that.
and next year because he's not going to not be playing basketball in a couple years. He's 36.
That's that's okay. because you're looking at trying this whole cap situation, the whole thing that's going on with the second apron. You're going to be having to move on to those smaller contracts to begin with. One of the things that just happened recently, there was an interview with Kevin Love when he was talking about how the tax apron has made it for it to be hard for to keep players, the teams like OKC together. You can't keep them all three of those players, Chet, Shea Gillis Alexander, all three of those players that they got over there, they're not going to be able to stay together mainly because of the amount of money that's going to be coming out. There's going to be a reset that's going to be coming up in a few years simply because of that second April. So with
Do
him
you
being,
think Donovan Mitchell is going to be with the Cavs his whole career? Same thing with Mobley.
I I don't know because you got to look at how the money
No,
is. It's the
no,
money.
no. The answer is no.
Nah,
Like you know
No,
it's not
you don't.
happening.
You don't.
So it's going to be a big
You don't really
rebuilding.
find. You don't really find loyal stars like that that actually stay if they not winning. At
yeah, you got to
least
be.
you
And that's
like.
why I don't understand. That's why personally I don't like the James Harden trade because you're basically
I,
saying you got to
So
win these next
I
2 years. And
I
I
don't
think the Cavs front office know that Mitchell and Mobley's not going to be there their whole career, and
but
I
that's why they're
already
making
told
these
y'all.
panic trades trying to win.
that's what
but
I literally just said that though. That's what I'm
It's a
We
saying.
are.
The
panic
money
trade.
isn't
but
going to be there.
Panicking.
second April
All right.
We
reset.
are.
People also don't talk about kind of how Boston had to do it as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
just literally went through and got rid of all these players because
The
that money.
Cavs. The
I'm talking
Cavs
about the
not
two best
panicking. They
players.
just. They just building for LeBron's retirement tour. That's what
Oh
that
my
is.
goodness, that's so trash.
I'm
Hey,
And on
that.
that
hey,
I'm
note,
telling you. That's
hey,
what
fella,
that is.
the
and on
commercial.
that
I think
note,
we're going on
We
commercial.
got to get to
yeah.
commercial.
And on that note, we going to commercial. You are watching 4th and 15 here on the 216 Sports Network.
Got a taste for something sweet? Planning a party? Or just want a midnight snack? Clarissa's Confections is a local treat maker here in Cleveland and has made many delectable and delicious treats for the young and old. Her treats are made to order and can be customized to your needs and any occasion. To place your orders, email her at sweetsbyclarice@gmail.com or call her at 440-805-4303. Are you a team looking for a new look on the sideline this season? A company looking for a more casual look? Or just trying to introduce something new to your closet space? TGBG is the brand for you. Jackets, polos, hoodies, and everything in between. TGBG has the clothing you need to serve a purpose for every occasion. To place your orders, contact them on Facebook and Instagram. Check out their website at www.tgbgbrand.com. Email them at tgbgbrand@gmail.com or call them at 440-470-4234. TGBG is also the official outfitter of the 216 Sports Network. TGBG, to God be the glory.
It's Captain Baby.
All right. We are back. And that was an interesting and yet comedic lead into our next segment. However, what we're gonna do, we're gonna fast forward, we'll move to another sport, let that calm down for LeBron's supposed last ride tour. Baseball is coming up. We already in spring training. And everybody knows, if you don't know me, I am a huge baseball fan. So before we even get into the season, the 2026 World Baseball Classic is coming up on us. And it will be starting in March 5th through the 17th. The usual, what I mean by the usual is the usual teams will be in there: Puerto Rico, Venezuela, Panama, Mexico, Dominican Republic, uh, Colombia, Nicaragua, Brazil, Chinese Taipei, and of course Japan. Here is where I get nervous. Here's where I get nervous. I'm looking at the pools, and the United States, I'm not gonna say they have an easy route, but it's easier than it has been. Because when we look at it, they've been put in some pools where it's just like, boy, that's tough. You get handed a worse hand than the USA in hockey in the Winter Olympics. Here are the pools for said World Baseball Classic 2026. Pool A, pot 1, Puerto Rico, United States, Japan, Venezuela. But the pool is Puerto Rico, Panama, Cuba, Canada, and Colombia. It is no shot for Canada. I'm sorry. It's no shot. Pool B is United States, Mexico, Italy, Great Britain, and Brazil. Pool C, Japan, South Korea, Australia, Czech Republic, and Chinese Taipei. And Pool D is Venezuela, Netherlands, Dominican Republic, Israel, and Nicaragua. I know everybody doesn't like to really talk baseball, but this is something that actually gets me excited because we saw, remember, last World Baseball Classic, 2 teammates were playing against each other, and one struck the other out before the season started. And if you ask me, I think Mike Trout took that personal, because you ain't gonna strike me out and then go be on the same team with me and be cool. I can't let that slide. However, what are you guys' thoughts on these pools, and what are your thoughts on the United States' shot to at least get back to some type of respectability?
I got a question. Since I haven't never been the biggest baseball person when it comes to understanding, what is the World Baseball Classic,
It
and
is
what
a,
is their comparison to like in other sports?
it is a
The
tournament.
best
It's just like
thing,
it's just
the
like the
best thing
Olympics.
you
It's a
could
tournament.
compare it to. That's what I was about to
No.
say. So to me, I'm with LeBron. It may just be a generational thing, honestly, because I always feel like 162 games is too much. But past that, I can't. The only 2 times I can actually watch baseball are this and postseason. If I'm not going, I'm not watching it on TV. But because
Tough.
this is a
Okay.
country wide thing, it gets heated, especially
Matter of fact,
when, like he said,
you can equate
no,
this to
you
the World
good.
Cup. No, you can equate this to the World Cup.
Okay.
I
Is
think it's one
is
of those
is
things. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say this is one of them things where, to me, baseball is actually real competitive. Because if I'm watching the MLB game and this game 18, you can't guarantee me they playing that hard for real. Like
Hold
they like,
on.
man, we got 162 of these. You feel me? It's only game 18. Like we'll be all right.
I mean, I'll say it like this, right? So, as far as baseball go, I grew up just with my grandfather, who, when he retired, he had season baseball tickets, so he was going to every single Guardians, and you know what their name used to be, but we're not gonna do that.
Hey man, I still say Indians. I don't care. It don't bother
You
me none.
ain't supposed to do that.
That's who.
I
I don't
don't
care.
know.
Said the internet, man.
Dad.
And and and
So I'll say this.
continue your thought.
I'm Dave.
I've been a fan of baseball to a certain extent. Like, I was a fan back in the '90s when they had the Kenny Lawtons and everything like that on Marvin Scales. It was basically, it seemed like the players that you grew up watching, you got to see them actually grow with their team. I think kind of the biggest thing with baseball and kind of the popularity at the moment is they haven't been able to evolve with the times to make their sport more popular. They have tried to emphasize like a pitch count so they can make the kind of speed up the game a little bit, hoping that would help. But I also hear them now talk about maybe a salary cap being involved, which I
Please.
think I think maybe that may be something that probably would help the game, because I always say if you're a fan of a team in a smaller market, you kind of know that you're already just a farming system for one of the bigger markets. So a lot of people won't get their emotions involved. And with sports, it's supposed to be about emotions. You're supposed to be emotionally attached to your team for you to get invested.
Yep.
Baseball doesn't allow people to technically do that, because for a long time with the Guardians Indians, we were basically a farming system for the bigger teams, where we knew so and so, yeah, he's going to go to that team because we know he can get more money over there than what we have.
Lindor.
Yeah, the amount of
True.
money in baseball is insane.
But
You're
basically,
looking
their
at
money.
Shohei Ohtani and stuff. Oh man.
But here's the
But
thing.
However much New York makes, that's just their money that they can spend on the roster. They don't have to give some to the Cleveland Indians whatsoever.
But I don't agree with it's a farming system thing. I think this is literally a market thing, because we see this in other sports. We see it in the NBA. For a long time, Cavs had one of the better teams, if not one of the best teams in the NBA. What happened? We kept running into Michael Jordan. And then we got LeBron. What happened? He kept running into super teams. Not that Mike didn't run into any super teams, but
Mike built different, dog.
My point is,
bald head compatriot, I can tell.
he ran into
LeBron's still the GOAT.
He ran into issues.
And
those issues were more often on the field than it was off the field in the front office. This is one of those scenarios where, since you brought up the salary cap thing, I could take it or leave it. And the reason I could take it or leave it is because baseball has been around for 100 and some odd years.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody at one point was getting paid the same amount.
Mm-hmm.
And now all of a sudden you got a problem with it. On the other hand, there are owners that are like, man, we can't keep up. Okay, well, do what other owners or other teams are doing. Start an ownership group. All these millionaire players, they looking to invest in something.
But hold up, here's the funny part of this. The owners are the ones that actually want the salary cap. The players are the ones that saying, no, we don't want to do that.
And I mean, because they want to be able to get paid what they're worth, and I don't blame them.
I think with that conflict happening, there is going. I've been hearing rumblings, and this is one of the big things that's going to be impactful for baseball going into next year. That there may be a lockout. I can see that happening coming up soon.
It wouldn't be the first time. Wouldn't be the first time. Wouldn't be the last time. But here, and Jacob knows where I'm going with this. Why would I want a salary cap? If I'm on the field, if I'm on the road, if I'm away from my family, if I got to put up with ugly ass reporters, if I got to put up with umpires that's probably betting on the game, whatever the case may be, or heckling fans that's betting on the game, why would I want a salary cap? I want all the money I can get.
If you're a player, you don't want a salary cap. But exactly. I'm talking as far as everybody else, because you can't tell me that the Dolans probably just like sitting around and seeing what the Dodgers doing. It's like, I mean, that's cool. You know, they can pay them people. We can't, but they can.
Yeah, they can.
These owners got to be pissed about what the Dodgers doing.
They can't.
I think the only way it changes is if the fans, you know, because if you lose, if like the same team wins for like 5 years in a row, or you get the same group of 5 teams that keep winning every year,
and that's what happens though.
But here's the thing:
but if you're not losing viewership, why change it? You know what I mean? But if it's up to the fans for real. If you know the fans boycott it or whatever, then they'll be forced to change something. You know.
Here's my thing with what Davion said. Can I tell you how to spend your money?
Not at all.
Brian, can I tell you how to spend your money?
If you're a financial advisor, I would assume you would be able to.
I'm not a financial advisor, but can I tell you how to spend your money?
No, sir. No, you cannot.
Anthony, same question.
If you in the NFL, yeah, because they do that. They tell you exactly how to spend your money.
That's not the question I'm asking you, brother. You dodging. Can I tell you how to spend your money right here?
No,
right
the
now?
answer is no. The answer is no.
It is no.
If you got an investment,
So here's the thing. If I can't tell none of y'all how to spend y'all money, can't nobody tell these billionaire owners how to
They all
spend their
got
money.
billions.
But here's the thing. Some of these teams were smart and got groups. Magic Johnson and the group out there in LA. You know, Magic Johnson got money we ain't never seen he had money. New York with the Steinbrenner family, they got money they ain't never seen. Boston, money we ain't never seen. Texas, Bush owned the Rangers. President Bush owned the Rangers at one point. So that tells you
But
there's money there. So
know,
but think about what you said. Think about all the teams you just named. You're not naming the Cleveland.
I'm
You're
going
not
to.
naming like
I'm
a
going to.
Milwaukee.
No,
Mark.
I'm going to because the Guardians,
Milwaukee had a
Indians,
pretty good
whatever you want
season
to
this
call
year.
them, they have an ownership group because the owner of the New Jersey Devils bought into them 3 years ago. So there's money that can be spent there. Haslam has even talked about buying into the group as well. I don't know if he's going to do it.
No, he better
But he
buy
got
it.
that-
Please,
Already
please,
playing
But
no.
he, what my point is, he has the
Oh, please
ability
don't.
to do it. And if
don't do that.
you
know,
can start all these groups, if you can start all these group ownership groups, who's to say that you can't come up with the money? Because it's there. Lindor, because somebody brought up Lindor. Lindor didn't even want as much as what Mike Trout got or what Betts got or what Ohtani got. He wanted a little bit more. Should he have gotten it from here? I'm gonna say yes, but he got it from the Mets, and he ain't been the same since.
we cheap.
That's not
hey,
nobody's fault but the Dolans.
I think the
That's
word
not
is
nobody.
less cheap.
That's
You're
not
broke.
nobody's fault but the Dolans. If you want to be that cheap, go ahead. If the purpose of you being an owner in the sport is not only to one, make money, and two, win championships, you're failing at one. And you shouldn't be, because for 10 years that I can think of, outside of the 1990s, for 10 years, you've had one of the best teams in baseball, and you have nothing to show for it.
The winningest team in baseball.
And you have nothing to show for it.
But I also think that's part of the problem because every single year, well, pretty much every year we go into the season with expectations for us so low, and somehow we always overachieve to the point where they might just see it as like we can develop or we can get a good manager. We could make something out of nothing. So why would we spend the money?
But you've done
at a
both.
certain
You've got
point,
you've got the best
that's
farm system in baseball, and you've got a very good manager. Why are
But
you?
that's what I'm.
What do you?
That's what I'm saying. Instead of spending money to add to what you already have, they just like we just gonna trust what we already have.
No,
Sometimes you got to spend to get over the hump, and they don't want to do it.
I think
And
that's
that-
the only reason why for a small market team like us, I would be okay with the salary cap. Like, listen to me, because you would have to spend a certain amount, and that would hurt the Dolans because it's like, whether you want to or not, you got to spend up to this amount. So they would have to throw out the money. So
I hate to
maybe
break this to you, but you're gonna have to spend the money regardless because you got to keep up. Chicago has to keep up. Chicago didn't win a World Series for 108 years. Do you know how long 108 years is? The Titanic been down at the bottom of the Atlantic for 115.
I'm still salty about their championship, man.
But that's my point. Small market. Chicago's a small market when it comes to baseball. Got a championship within the last 10 years. It is 2026 now. They won it in 2016. So don't tell me
But
money can't be spent to make a better team. It can. They just don't want to. And that salary cap ain't going to help.
But what do you do if you're shown that he's not willing to? Should there be some type of penalty that's enforced on him to say, hey, dog, you can't do that? Or like
It's his team.
How to spend his money.
It's his team. But see, here's the thing. But see, here's the thing in sports. There is partial leeway to be told you have to spend money because that's where it's going. That's where the trend is.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
That's where the trend is. Look at what LeBron, look at James Harden, Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, all those guys pushed the salary cap. That's why the collective bargaining agreement in NBA is higher than it's ever been. You can't tell me it can't be done in baseball because it can. You don't
I
need a
think
salary cap. You just need a smart group of owners who have the money, and the Dolans have it. So does the guy who bought into the Guardians from the New Jersey Devils. Well, I ain't seen the Devils win the Stanley Cup in how long?
listen, I told you what they need to do. They need to go over there across the street while it's there, go up to the Brown Stadium and have a little talk with the billionaire that say, hey, I know you got the Bucks, I know you got a soccer team, but how about you come and invest over here with us? Spend some of that 250 million this way so we can go ahead and get a couple more players.
Exactly. And there's no salary cap needed for that. You
You
don't need
know,
a salary cap to do that.
Haslam be like, here's 500 million. Call me later.
And he about to build a whole $4.2 billion stadium in Brook Park. So there's no reason why we need a salary cap in baseball. I said I could take it or leave it because I can. I don't really care. Baseball going to be traditional. That's going to be the only traditional sport left in America. There's no way you tell me, oh man, we a small market. Every market starts out as a small market in every sport. Think about all the teams that ever won a championship. Cleveland, the Cavaliers won a championship, and we are considered a small market here in Cleveland. And we have some of the most legendary sports teams in all of sports.
But it took the second greatest player in basketball history to do that.
Don't even matter who. Don't matter who it took. The market is considered small.
I'm looking at consistency over just like a couple year thing, because as far as baseball goes, like the Dodgers won like 3 or 4 in the past 6 years, and we see how they just still spending, and like
still spending.
Realistically, like if this was any other sport, that wouldn't be happening, because you see when the Warriors had that run they had, as soon as that happened, the NBA changed the rules. Baseball just like, hey man, it's their money. Let them do what they want.
Exactly. That's the same thing they did with steroids. Hey man, we making more money than we ever made.
Bring the steroids back. You feel me? Like
I
I know it sounds crazy.
I think you just made a
want to
perfect point
see
for
him
why
off the
people aren't as
juice.
big a fans, and there aren't that many people who are actually watching baseball then, because
You tell them to mix it in their cup.
there's no competitive mix up with everything, since there's so much money being put into these teams. I feel like when you're looking at the Dodgers again, the money is crazy. There is so much money, and how do you expect anyone to be competitive against that? I'm just gonna be truthfully honest, just as an outside person looking in. I'm not interested in seeing the Dodgers every single year just doing that. I'm not interested in seeing the Lakers do it.
I wasn't
I'm not.
interested in seeing the Patriots do it, but they found a way to do it.
Yeah, but
I can't be mad at you if you find a way to do it with a salary cap, though. Like
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I can't be that mad. But
I can't be mad, period, because like you said, that was consistency there.
Yes, I can. I'm a hater. You feel me? If it ain't my team, I'm a hater.
Yeah.
I don't wish that much success on nobody that ain't my team.
When I was a Rockets fan as a kid, the Warriors traumatized me. I used to hate them. Every year could not get past them. Beat everybody else but them.
But see, here's the thing. I want people at home watching to understand. This is nothing new when it comes to baseball. This is something that's been an argument for the last at least 30 years. The problem I think people have with it is we can't compete because we're in a small market. The market ain't got nothing to do with it. It's your front office. And I'm saying that because I've been in situations where we've had the chance on the team to get the best quarterback, get the best wide receiver, get this, get that. And the minute that said player or those said players throw out a number, yeah, we can't do that. And then we look like crap the rest of the season.
How did you feel about that?
I was hot. I can't say for Detroit purposes, I can't say what I really was thinking and how I was really feeling, but I was hot because we're on a team. We're trying to win the championship. That's what you're paying us to be here for. You're not paying us just to, hey man, I got a couple billion I could blow somewhere. Hey, you want them, you want about 20, you want about 30? No, we came here to win a championship. The best quarterback on the market is in free agency. The best receiver in the league is in free agency. Why are they not here?
You see something, that's why I'll be honest. Like, just because you kind of mentioned it a little bit, that's why I can't even really be mad at Haslam, because at least the owner is spending money. Now,
Yes.
I think we had the highest paid roster for the last couple years. At least he's spending his money. Now, just like you mentioned, if the coaching and everything else is not good,
Then that's another problem.
yes. But if your owner is constantly wanting to actually spend, you can't even get mad at the man.
We can't
And
get
that
mad at him.
and that's what I'm
'Cause-
saying. If you spend the money, if you stop being so bullheaded and spend the money, you won't have this complaint because and I'm a believer in this aspect of sports. If you spend the money, you're going to make that money back
True.
3 times over. Let's look at the history of it. I'm not saying they did it. What I'm saying is they found a way to make it work. The Patriots, I'll throw them out there one more again. The Patriots found a way to consistently find ways to play players to come here and play for Bill Belichick. We all know Belichick ain't the most liked coach in football, but if you can put up with him, we can make it to the Super Bowl. How many times did they win? 6.
But it
Same thing.
also takes your quarterback willing to take a huge pay cut for that too.
And he did to help pay those other guys. So we have the money, but this is football. I'm going to get to baseball because baseball had it to where you had Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani on the same team.
Man. And
On
fumbled
the
it.
hold up. They weren't on the Dodgers at this point, or even close to. They were in LA Angels, Anaheim Angels, whatever you want to call them. They was with the Angels.
I got a question for you real quick.
On the same team, and they made it work. The Angels had the best record they had in 30 years.
Do you consider him the best baseball player of all time?
Who, Shohei Ohtani?
Yes.
He's up there. He's in my top 3.
Who's your top 3? Hold up. Who's your top 3?
My top 3, bias. Griffey,
Okay.
Ohtani,
Mhm.
and just off of GP purposes, because I was in that era, Albert Bell.
That's a good list. I can't even hate
Albert.
on that.
Only reason I wanted Albert Bell was I think Albert Bell is in there because he didn't need steroids to knock out a second baseman. He gonna knock you out regardless. You throw at him, you do something he don't like, he knocking you out the next time he get on base. Good luck. But Ohtani, Bell, Griffey are my top 3. I look at Ohtani as a generational talent because he's doing things that country is known for doing in sports, in baseball. They are multifaceted. They can pitch, they can play certain positions, and they can hit. And my thinking with that is, and this has been my theory for a long time. Why ain't we going, especially with the Guardians, why ain't we going overseas over in Japan to go pick them up?
We don't want to spend that money.
They don't know that. Hold up. At the time they're playing, they don't know that. It
also depends on who you're trying to get, because when we know Ohtani was coming over here, you know, them smaller market teams, like, we know we ain't got no chance, so it don't even matter. So if you go over there and just try to get somebody, you taking a gamble.
The Mariners didn't know Ichiro was coming, and that's a small market team. When was the last time you saw the Mariners in the World Series?
No, but that was also a long time ago.
But I can name 3, 4, maybe Japanese players that came over here. Nobody knew they were coming over, and yet they literally changed the game. Daisuke Matsuzaka, Ichiro, and Ohtani. And there was no money involved until they got here, had a couple years under their belt to play Major League Baseball, not Japanese baseball, Major League Baseball.
Didn't we just have a whole talk about how our ownership group is kind of cheap and they not gonna spend on the players we got? What makes you think they gonna fly to Japan and try to get one over there? They're not about to do that.
Because it's cheaper.
Nah.
It's cheaper. If they don't know what's going on, the rules are different for Japanese baseball.
Because don't they technically have to talk to the club as well?
Yes.
The Japanese club over there, and they have to get permission because a certain amount of their salary goes to them too. Am I correct?
Yeah. But it's easier because look at what you got to do with the Latin countries. You got to pay them way more.
You do.
You got to pay them way more. If I go to Japan or Chinese Taipei or even China, hey, I like this guy.
But it's also about
what's it going to take for me to get him?
When you do that, you got to build a relationship, and that can build the pipeline. Just like you kind of mentioned.
I ain't seeing why it ain't been done. I'm not
They,
saying why
no,
it
they
can't be
do
done.
need. I just feel like, again, if you are in a situation like this where you like a Cleveland and your owners don't want to spend, at a certain point, you just gonna have to stop hoping for the best and do something different. You feel me? Because obviously it's not working. It worked in 2016, and
look how
we ain't
close
even
you
win
got.
it then. So like,
and you, to your point, had it not been for the rainstorm, are we having this conversation?
we would have had that one 10 years ago, and we would have just been happy with that.
Exactly. And the Cubs ain't been back since.
But that's the thing.
Could you imagine if we
get
really
one
tips in 1 year?
We would have burned the city down. That's probably why.
No,
I was like, y'all can't handle
we
that.
would not have burned the city down. We would have built new things. we
look,
would have
man,
built new monuments.
Look, that's because, like, ultimately Cleveland is a sports town, but Cleveland's a Browns town first, and that's why the Browns suck. God is just like, y'all not ready for that. I'm 100% convinced God is just like, y'all are not ready for that because y'all don't know how to act. Why would I? Y'all need to. Y'all need to stay at the bottom until y'all can get y'all act together.
That's tough. That's tough.
He has a very valid point. That makes a lot of sense.
Remember
The average
the Cavs
Cleveland person
championship
cheers
parade
for the Browns.
The Cavs championship parade. There was what, like 1-2 shootings. I'm pretty sure all of us was downtown.
No,
I was not downtown when that happened.
I made that mistake. I ain't gonna make it again.
Listen, listen. I'm gonna say this, and I need y'all to go with me with your imagination, right? So, I don't know. I lived in Arizona for 10 years, right? I don't think y'all realize how
funny.
Browns fans are all over.
Because I know the reason why.
Oh.
A lot of people don't understand how many Browns fans is all over the country and over the world. It's not just gonna be Cleveland this basically set on fire. Every city is gonna feel it because we've migrated everywhere. I think we're number 3 when it comes to out of the country for football fans. We're the third team out of the country.
Third or second.
So if you don't think like the whole world is about to go nuts, they about to go dumb.
Because a lot of people from Cleveland, they try to move out.
Down the road,
and that's the problem. And that's the problem right there.
Ohio
is
in
the
general.
problem.
Okay.
Ohio's called the hard for a reason.
So here's my thing. We're gonna end it on this note. Roundtable, World Baseball Classic. Who takes home the championship? Because last World Baseball Classic, Japan won.
Japan.
That's tough. That's tough.
Kodo, name that player that's on their team. Go ahead.
Ohtani. But he's not the only marquee ball player in this tournament.
That's why I'm gonna go ahead and put my bid in and go ahead and say it's gonna be Japan because he's there. It's
I don't know. It like I get why. And I can even see if they was the favorites, but at the same time, like, we can't just act like baseball is mostly a Japanese sport because you could say the DR gonna make some noise too.
They are.
Like, them Latin American countries play some baseball too.
I got a quick question. He was the MVP of the World Series.
I mean,
the World Series or the
yeah.
the World Series or the Classic?
The World Series. It wasn't Otani. It was the pitcher.
It wasn't.
Uh-uh. I think he's Japanese as well.
Oh, the one that came over, I think, a year or two ago, right? Yeah.
Yep. So both of them on that.
I don't necessarily
The
mean
in-
nothing though.
the
That
yes,
don't make it a
it
good
actually
thing.
was. It actually was. The MVP for the Dodgers was Yoshinobu Yamamoto. So pitching wise, they got it.
My man fell in the toilet or something.
Industrial
Like
value or something. What is
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
industrial shipping compartment or something else?
But we are gonna go to another commercial break. And when we come back, we're gonna touch on one of Jacob's favorite subjects. So stick with us. You're watching 4th and 15 here on the 216 Sports Network.
Are you a team looking for a new look on the sideline this season? A company looking for a more casual look? Or just trying to introduce something new to your closet space? TGBG is the brand for you. Jackets, polos, hoodies, and everything in between. TGBG has the clothing you need to serve a purpose for every occasion. To place your orders, contact them on Facebook and Instagram. Check out their website at www.tgbgbrand.com. Email them at tgbgbrand@gmail.com or call them at 440-470-4234. TGBG is also the official outfitter of the 216 Sports Network. TGBG, to God be the glory. Are you ready for a snack or a treat that satisfies that sweet tooth? Well, Clarissa's Confections has what you need. All her treats are custom made and centered around your taste buds' desires. Place your orders now by emailing her at sweetsbycarice@gmail.com or call her at 440-805-4303.
It's Captain Baby.
And we are back. Final segment of our show. But before we move any further, I gotta send a shout out to our sponsors, Clarissa's Confections, TGBG Brandwear, and Uncle Rico's Quarter Mile Challenge. Best game on the Nintendo Entertainment System. Y'all don't know what y'all missing. It's hot. He can throw a ball over the mountains. If they'd put him in, he would have won state. I promise you. Y'all don't even know. Y'all don't even know.
he
All
got
right.
he got the perfect form too.
Oh man, you see that? Pull that up one more time. Y'all see that? Do you see the form?
So that's what Tom
Nah.
Brady like.
Yeah.
All right. So we have touched NBA. We've touched offseason NFL. We've also touched on a little bit of baseball. Clearly, Japan's going to win it. I think the U.S. might be looking for revenge. That's just me. But we're going to hit the NCAA football portal real quick. One good time. We saw that there's a lot going on. And it's weird because a couple of guys have gotten what I would call extensions. There's a player in Montana who's gotten a 9th year of eligibility. I don't know if NIL has anything to do with that, but how does that even work? Where you get a 9th year of
Man,
eligibility?
You know they're talking about
at a certain
just
point,
making you have 6 years of eligibility. They're talking about that right now.
Well,
Possibility instead of 4 years, they're about to give 6
technically,
years for players to play college football.
you do
Yeah.
have 6 years because that is what a red shirt does. It makes you sit out the
Right.
year because if you
And
don't
that's
have
why they're just gonna make it 6 instead of 4.
5 years, right?
no, technically, if you have 4, but if you
You
red
have
shirt,
4.
you get that year back.
Right.
Right, so you
And,
could.
and you
Listen, it don't make sense because they pushed the red shirt back to like let's say you can play like in like 8 games out of whatever amount of games there is to 12 games, and if you don't play the last 4, you still get a red shirt. It's just you might as well just give the dude 6 years at that point. It's no point of you can play in X amount of games and still get a red shirt. It just doesn't make sense.
not only did he get a 9th year, uh, Ole Miss quarterback Trinidad Chambliss gets a 6th year. He's eligible for
we got
2026.
he got denied though. He technically got that
No,
6
I think they're
years.
reviewing it again, and I think he
Yeah,
might.
they are. Because the
Yeah.
NCAA denied him, but the judge sided with him. But the thing that
But
don't make sense to me is why not give him a 6 year, but you give somebody a 9? Like somebody need to just go ahead and talk to old boy at Montana, because it's Montana, right? It'd be like, look, man, I know you probably love the game and everything, but 9 years is crazy. Like, just hit that LinkedIn portal and
hey,
find
David,
something in there.
you ever
Because
seen
if
that
it ain't
show?
work,
You ever seen that show Blue Mountain State?
I have,
He living
I
the
have,
life. He living the life.
man. But look, at a certain point, think about it. 9 years, right? You 27. Why do you still want to be here?
He's
Like
living living.
Carson Beck, it kind of made sense because we all know Carson Beck ain't about to be no first round pick. And with NIL, he like, this is my chance to get paid. But 9 years is crazy.
9 is definitely crazy. 9 is like what, bro? You should be in your
You got a
4th
wife
year
and kids.
of the NFL.
And if
Yeah.
you probably 30 something around trying to go to parties with the, never mind. But
Yeah, but I
That's what
think
I'm
there's a bigger problem in college football. I think the tampering right now that's going on. You got coaches reaching out to players during the season and stuff. I mean, that's tampering. I mean, you can't try to seduce a player saying he's gonna pay him X amount of money. He's not even inside the transfer portal.
It
I
ain't
mean,
no different
I
than what
think
they
that's
do
a
with
way bigger
NFL
problem
and
than letting
NBA.
someone else play another year.
It ain't no different than what they've been doing in the NFL, NBA, and MLB.
Nah,
The
but
only
they
this is on a whole different level
the
because like
only difference is
there's no rule set in place. You NFL, you see it happen. They get fined or whatever, they get in trouble. There's nothing. There's no rule placed for tampering in college football,
it
and
just
because
they need to
became
get a hold of that because like
it
how
became the
can you
Wild
not be in
West.
the transfer portal? How are you not in the transfer portal, but you got head coaches like from Tennessee, Ole Miss offering you $10 million to come play? That means you're trying to seduce the player to hop in the transfer portal and then go play for you. That's terrible.
hey,
They
blame
just
the
went
blame the
too
transfer
far.
portal.
They went too far in the other direction. Because remember before, if you would transfer schools, you had to sit out a year.
Right.
Yeah,
If anything, they need to bring that back. Like, okay, if you really want to go that bad and make your money, cool. But
I
if
don't
you
agree with
commit
that.
to us, I do, because it to me it
I
just
think you
went
should
too
be
far
allowed
the
to
other
transfer
way.
2 times. You get a 2 time transfer rule and leave it at that. If you try to transfer more than twice, you're done. You get 2 times the transfer.
and they won't work. It won't stick.
I
It won't.
think
They will fight that to the death.
then players will literally get to say, "Well, coach
Then
gets
you're
to
just gonna have tampering going on forever in college football.
go where he wants to, but we can't go where we want to."
Then let's just make it NFL junior at this point, because that's where we headed anyway. That's where we headed anyway.
I mean, they're getting
So why
paid more
not?
than the NFL players. I mean,
So why not do it now?
I would.
Because again, look at Carson Beck. Carson Beck, no, he ain't about to do nothing in the NFL. That's why he's still in college.
hey,
So
and
if
he gets
I'm
paid
him,
$10 million to be in college. I will stay in college
that's what I'm
too.
saying.
So,
If I'm him, I'm like, sign me up every year.
We
so
got
let
a
me
lot.
ask,
We got a
right?
lot of Van Wilders going on.
He's never gonna make $10 million again in his life.
I just
He already
thought of,
made it. He ain't got to.
y'all said it 4 years of eligibility, right? if you really want to be strict when it comes to the transfer rule, how would y'all feel if you transfer to another school, it costs you 1 year of eligibility?
That's
If
what I'm
you really
saying.
No,
That was
no.
already in
Yes.
place. That was
no,
already in
Yes.
place.
but what I mean is you don't have to sit out. But instead of you, when you transfer over as a freshman, say you're a freshman, you're going into your sophomore year, you transfer, you don't have to sit out, but it's going to count as your junior year.
I'm
I don't
Sit
believe
out
in
though.
punishing the players for wanting to transfer. I believe in to first off have the coaches stop tampering and stuff, and second off just put a cap on how many times you can transfer. If you can't transfer three, you see players like for example, my cousin plays college football. He started off at North Carolina. He ended up at Virginia Tech, and now he's at TCU. That's a whole lot of times to be transferring.
But did he
Let's be
transfer
real
to
about this.
transfer or did he transfer for money?
Tate Martell
It was I
transferred
wouldn't.
five
It wasn't
times.
for money. Better fit situation.
Tate Martell, former Ohio State quarterback, transferred 5 times, and it was out of football.
5 times. That's a
That's
After that
crazy.
fifth time, he
you
was out of
usually
football.
that's why I'm saying you should put a cap on it because usually when you're transferring a lot like that, it's a usually I hate to say it,
Yeah, like
probably
you.
most likely a you problem.
I will say,
Yeah, no, say it. It is a huge
You're
problem.
right. You're right.
Yeah.
It is a you problem.
and I know we're talking sports right now, but like, you know how they say like sports teaches life lessons. If you're always just able to transfer for the problem, what are you actually learning?
And
Right.
that's why.
That's why I
And
think you should
that's
put a cap on it, and you shouldn't punish them. Be like, hey, you got to sit out here, or hey, we're taking a year eligibility. No, we're just gonna put a cap on it, and you're gonna be stuck with the team that you end up with after your second transfer.
but that's part of the issue though, because you look at it like if something don't work at a certain school or they get mad for whatever reason, all they do is transfer. You ain't learning no adversity. You not developing nothing. And if you a big name, you get this opportunity now to go to the NFL. That's gonna be a wake up call because you can't transfer once you get there. So
Oh,
what
you
you gonna
definitely
pout?
No.
hey.
Yeah. So what you gonna pout? Like they don't. There's no adversity they got to go through going through all this. So which is why again we don't see no development at this point.
Hey, Davia
Yo,
said that. But do you remember the Corey Coleman clip when he went into Hugh Jackson's office?
I
He
don't.
I do.
you
I
know what
think
I'm
everyone remember what we're talking about.
saying? Me like, man, if you don't want to play me, just trade me, man. Just trade me out of here. I don't even want to be here.
Yeah,
But the
man.
difference is these players chose to go to these schools.
Yeah, you made that choice.
These players signed a contract. These players sat down, thought about it. Oh,
So
here's one.
live with it.
They went and viewed the facility. They like these players are like these coaches in college football are auctioning their program. Like they're trying to show like, hey, this is why you come here. In the NFL, you're here and you can leave if it's too much of a
But
problem
like
and not have a job.
I'm not mad at anybody transferring. Transfer for a better situation. Transfer
That's
for more
cool. But if you're
money.
transferring
But
for
when you
money,
one of them people that no, because when you one of them people you transfer 4 or 5 times, it's like you the problem. Not
yeah.
I would
any of these other places.
I would say you get one free transfer, was completely free with nothing attached. If your coach leaves and goes to another school, then you should be able to transfer without any penalty. That
That's
There
how
would
it
should be
make.
used to
no
be.
penalty. It should be a cap, and then there should be a cap on how many times you
But
can
I
do
mean,
it.
but I
And
mean,
like, and you made a good point right there, and that shouldn't take away your transfer if your coach leaves.
so you said do the two. So
Wait a
that's the
minute.
case.
So I don't get punished if my coach leaves and he was the reason I'm over there?
What do
No,
you mean?
I'm saying I get if you commit to a school because of a coach and that coach leaves, you should be allowed to transfer.
Yes,
Why?
without no penalty, because that
Yeah, if your
usually a player's not committed to a program. He's committed to a coach.
yeah, so if your coach decides he wants to go somewhere else, that should be a free like, okay, I can transfer wherever I want to go because the guy that recruited me is no longer here.
I
Right.
Well,
don't
nine
The
agree.
times out of
players were
ten,
I don't
nine
agree
times
with
out of
that.
10 ain't no loyalty anyway. Because look at Lane Kiffin.
Right.
Like,
no.
So why
you feel me?
I don't agree with that. Because if Lane Kiffin could leave, why can't I and not be punished? Well, I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say
I
this.
don't think players should be punished.
I'm gonna say this because I grew up in the era where you couldn't transfer, and if you did, you lost that year. I feel that if you put if you just get rid of the transfer portal, this will solve a lot of issues.
No, you're not gonna have the same. You're gonna have the dominant SEC teams again. You're not gonna have
No, you're
you're not
not.
gonna have this open
No, you're
college.
not. No,
Well,
you're not.
how you think Indiana won national championship?
Because
They
all
in the
them
transfer
they
portal.
got a
None of
team
them.
of
None of them
30-year
players on
olds.
Indiana. None of them players on Indiana committed to
Yeah,
Indiana. They committed to other schools and got brought in, and they're all like
And they
23,
had the
because you got
24.
oldest,
23-year-olds playing
and you
against
had the
18-year-olds.
oldest
That's what it
teams.
is.
No. Hey, I don't like
Yeah.
that. Listen, the
You
the
had the
average college
oldest
football
team
team that wins
in
national
the entire
championships
country.
aren't full of freshmen. So I don't believe in the 23 versus 18 because the
No,
average
you
team doesn't
have
have straight freshmen playing.
That Indiana
no.
team was the oldest team in college football.
That's fine, but that's
But
not
what
the
I'm
reason why they won it all. Because the
no.
average team in college football ain't
Um,
18 and 19-year-olds playing. It's 21 and
That,
22
I
year
say,
olds.
what
I
I'm
say,
And
saying
then when
is
you go to
what
the
I'm
NFL,
saying.
I,
you're
it's
25 playing against fully
not,
developed 30
they
year
don't have
olds.
experience. Like they're the oldest team, but they
No,
also have
thank you. That's what I'm
so
saying. I'm not
it's not,
saying
They
not
came
gonna
together for 1 year together.
I'm not no, listen. What I'm not saying that a team full of 18 or 19-year-olds win championships. I'm saying there's usually a mix of veteran players and younger players that can contribute. Look at Ohio State when they won it. They lost so much talent to the draft. Indiana's thing was we're gonna
Ohio
take a
State
lot
had
of
a
two
bunch
and
of
three
old
stars
players.
with, but they also had young players. What I'm saying is Indiana was like, we're gonna take a lot of 2 and 3 stars that are between 20 and like 23 that have the experience and run with that. And it worked.
That's smart.
But that's what he was saying.
That's
The
smart.
experience, that's experience. That's why they were the oldest team in college football won because they had more experience.
If you get rid of the transfer portal, and this is
Nah,
my
I don't know about
opinion,
more experience.
this is my opinion. If you get rid of the transfer portal, you will not have that SEC dominance anymore because look at the way the landscape has
And
changed.
more.
What do you mean? It was dominant because the transfer portal wasn't a thing. And then all of a sudden the transfer portal became a thing. You can pay your players to come everywhere. Now you see these teams that are just magically coming out of nowhere playing good,
But if
like
you
Texas
get rid of
Tech.
the transfer portal and you keep the NIL, that player is stuck there. So if you want this money, you better play for it. And then again, look at the super conference realignment. It's not the Power 5 anymore, it's the Power 4. The 4 biggest conferences have newer teams who are pushing each other. Because realistically, I didn't think USC was going to survive. I didn't think Oregon was going to survive in the Big Ten. Oregon's been to the Big Ten championship.
I
I
mean,
didn't think the ACC would look the way it does. Miami,
Without the transfer portal, there's no point in even having NIL at that point.
oh, you can still have NIL, but now you're stuck.
But
Now you're stuck.
how is that going to fix the part of a dominant conference? If you take away NIL and not the NIL, if you take away the transfer portal, it's going to be the Big Ten or SEC about every year.
see.
I mean, it's
it's
already
already
like
It's
the
that,
Big
always
but
Ten
been
or
the
like,
Big Ten
SEC.
or the SEC. It's always been the Big Ten or the
yeah,
SEC
no. But
for the
are
Yeah.
you
last
seeing
30
lower
years.
level teams that are actually being good and becoming better?
I would say this. Like I get with
Like
both.
Texas Tech 1 year just was like, you know why Texas Tech was good this
Man,
year? Because they
Texas
got a
Tech
lot
ain't.
of money in Texas Tech. They got a, they got
Texas,
they.
when was the last time you saw Texas Tech win the national championship?
When last time you saw them relevant?
The
You're
last time
getting
I
these
saw them
fans to
relevant was
be
Michael
you're getting these
Crabtree.
fans to engage with. That's good for college football. It's more money for the sport. You're getting to see these low level teams like Indiana, like
NCAA is
Texas
making more
Tech.
money than the
You're letting the
NFL.
fans. You letting these low level schools fans actually be more engaged. I think we was talking about a different topic about lower market teams and their fans being engaged with it. Now these are the opportunity for teams with lower level
At a
expectations. Their fans
at
can be
a
excited for a season. You got
you
teams like Northwestern that can look at like Indiana, but like they haven't did nothing ever, and they just had one spectacular year. Like you getting your fans back invested into the sport. That's just great. That's why college football is making so much money now.
They make more money
realistically,
than the NFL. So what difference would it make?
Now, yeah, I mean they're making significant amount of more money because you're seeing these lower market teams being looking like, oh my goodness, we can win. Texas Tech proved
you're
that this year.
that's not 100% true because you saying lower
How is that
market
not
teams.
true?
It's not a it's because it's this is how I look at it. The national champion every year is going to come from one of 4 conferences. As a Kent State graduate, right? Kent being a MAC school, I know there was zero chance, no matter how good they are, of them winning a national championship. Even though it's still a D1 school, they have no chance of
Yes,
actually winning a national
that's a
championship.
whole different subject. I'm talking about lower level schools within them Power Four schools. I'm a candidate. I'm a person who thinks that if you're not in the Power Four schools, they need to have a separate playoffs. The MAC, the American Conference, they
They
need to have their
should.
own playoffs.
They
That's
should.
that's that's what I'm a
Yeah.
believer in. I'm talking about the Power Four schools, the lower teams like Vanderbilt, who just had a magical year. You know, teams like
So
that, who's in the Power Four, that are on a lower level of the Power Four, who's not that good in the SEC, not that good in the Big
the
Ten, not that good in the ACC, not
kids,
that good in the Big 12. Them lower level market teams and those Power Four conferences, you're getting those fans engaged, and that's exciting for college football, I think. And yeah,
so Jacob, how would you make it more competitive to where even those lower level teams may still have a shot? Is there anything
are
that
you
can
are you talking about non-Power Four conference or Power
right,
Four conference?
right? Is there any way that you feel that you can give them at least a shot?
Who the
Like,
teams outside the Power Four?
yes.
Impossible. That's why they didn't make their own
No.
playoffs. It's
Yeah.
impossible. It's like literally impossible for Bowling Green to run the tables and win the national championship. Same thing with Toledo, Miami, Ohio. That's what they need their own playoffs.
And they get throttled in that because you got to see North Dakota State every year.
I mean, I'd rather them have their own playoffs than watch James Madison come in here and stink. And yeah, I don't want to see that.
This ain't got nothing to do with none of that, but shout out to Sacramento State, man, because they moving to the MAC. So shout out to
You know
them. You
that see,
feel me?
that's good. Sacramento State can win the non-power conference national championship if they made a playoffs for them.
You know what? I just something to the point. I know when it comes to like soccer, how they have different leagues. Like if you're not winning or doing right, they'll drop you down. I can see them doing something like a level situation like that. That way, you get your national championship from the non-power fives and the non-power
That
four.
that
Like
would
we didn't
be
need to see
Division
Tulane.
One.
We didn't need
That
to
would
see
be
James Madison.
FCS, Division Two, Division Three, and
But
NAIA. That's already in place.
you have
Like
100.
I would have way rather saw Vanderbilt play Oregon than James Madison.
It'd be the same result.
I don't know. Oregon did not look that good in the playoffs, and James Madison put 40 points on them. I think Vanderbilt would have had an okay time scoring versus that defense.
And Vanderbilt's been a doormat
Or
since Jay Cutler
not even
left.
them. F that. Texas would have been a good matchup. Texas was playing great towards the end of the year. Beat the number 3 team at the time. You know that Texas and them went to the 7th seed. But yeah, I'd rather see way better match than James Madison and Oregon.
Don't worry, you know you're gonna have Notre Dame that's in there because how they had the rule change for them.
And the crazy part about this is, no matter what we think, the NCAA is not going to change unless they really want to. That's just the reality of it.
They're making a lot of money, and they're gonna keep doing what it takes to make a lot of money.
And that's really the end all be all. I think I honestly was not a fan of the transfer portal just because I knew, it's gonna hurt the incoming kids coming out of high school. It's gonna hurt, kids that want to play and want to be somewhere. And I felt like after watching the Tate Martell situation, it was just like, bruh, yeah, y'all got to do something. Because he transferred 5 times, couldn't cut it, and now he's out of football.
So let me ask you this.
And he was a highly ranked recruit coming out of high school.
The last 2 national champions, do they win their national championship if there's no transfer portal?
Honestly, I think so. Because the last 2 champions were, before this year, were Michigan and Ohio State.
But
I honestly think so.
Downs out of Alabama from the transfer portal, and they were the first to start really spending money.
And Alabama has won how many since they started spending money?
You got a point.
There we go.
Ohio State was the one that started the spending money trend. And they got Downs out of it, which made their defense great. Plus, they bought a couple other players. They were said to have one of the highest paid defenses, and that did help them get a national championship. Plus, their quarterback came out of the.
Don't tell me I can do something and then I do it and now it's a problem.
But I get exactly what you mean, and that's why I'm asking if there was no transfer portal, if they couldn't do that, would these teams still remain as national champions? What?
Honestly, I
No,
believe so because Michigan and Ohio State have the recruiting tools
no,
to do
Michigan,
that.
Ohio, yes, but Indiana would not have won a national
Oh
championship this
yeah,
year.
no. That's why I
No,
said the
not
last two
happening.
before. That's why I said the last two before this year. Yes, it'd be
Okay,
Michigan and Ohio State.
yes,
You
Michigan, Ohio State would have
Indiana
won
was a
regardless.
doormat.
Those were the two best teams those specific years. Those two
Yeah,
specific years, Michigan and Ohio State were the best teams that year.
Indiana hadn't been good since Antoine Randall left. Think about that. You know how long ago that was? That was 1998.
Damn. I mean, dang.
So realistically, if you don't have the NIL, you're lucky to have a 7-3 Indiana team. You're lucky to have a 6-5 Illinois team, a 8-4 Northwestern. But with the improvement of the conferences, it's gonna push you because now you got to recruit California to keep them kids from going to USC or UCLA. You got to recruit California to keep them kids from going to Oregon, Washington.
Hmm.
You got to recruit Texas because you got to. You got to recruit Florida. You need speed. Ohio State, Michigan, Alabama, Georgia to a degree, all of Texas, and all of California were already doing that.
Mhm.
The only thing different was now you giving them an incentive, which was money. If you take away the portal and say, hey, I'll pay you, but you got to stay here. I think that improves recruiting for one.
Mhm.
And on top of that, if I know I'm stuck here, I got to make the best decision for me because I'm going to be here for the next 4 years.
But if their coach, and this is what we were saying earlier, if their coach ends up leaving and going to another team, will you give them the right to leave as well?
No. You
I
commit
don't.
to the school,
I don't.
not the coach.
But
And the reason I'm saying that is because, Jacob, you've been told this. I've been told this by the same person. You're not playing for the person on the back of the jersey. You playing for what's on the front of the jersey. When you were in high school, what was on the front of your jersey? What was on the front of my jersey? It said Railroaders. We couldn't just up and transfer to that school down the street or the school in Midtown. You had to stay. So if I'm telling you I'm gonna pay you 10 mil, but you got to stay here, you're gonna make the best decision you ever made. Because if you don't, you're screwed.
But let me give you a little pushback. Don't, when you get the opportunity to choose where you want to go, aren't you also looking at the coach's scheme that fits best for you and your playing style?
Yes. But
So
if he leaves, that
ups and
don't
leaves,
give me the right to leave too.
but if he takes his playing style, the one that you felt was best for you, and they switch to something
Yeah,
completely,
that's why I say that's why you know, I don't think players should be punished, but I think uh if a head coach does leave, because like as a player and you're recruiting to a player. Like for example, a great example, Savion Hitter, number one ranked running back recruit in this upcoming class. Michigan got him. All the stuff with Michigan came out about Sharon Moore, all that stuff. He was about to trend. He was about to, you know. But since
But
when
he also never set foot on
I'm
the
not.
field either.
Let's my full point. Kenny Kenny Witt, Witt, Kyle Whittingham, Utah's head coach, comes to Michigan. He keeps Tony Alford, the Michigan's running back coach. He keeps him. Then Savion Hitter goes on Twitter and says, "I'm a fish. I'm not going nowhere." And then added Tony Alford in the tweet and said, "I'm ready to work, coach." So with that being said, that proves a player, the number one recruit, even so, like this proves the players are committing to a certain coach. They're not even committing to a head coach. They're committing to the position coaches. They're committing to a certain coach on the team that they believe their play style can fit their team. And so that's what I'm saying. Like if in like let's say Kyle Whittingham came in and would a kid brought in a different running back coach and Savion Hitter thought like that's not my play style. That's not how I how I operate. He might have thought differently. Like hey, I don't want to be here no more. So I think players are committing to a position coach and a coaching staff in all. So if
I
your coach
think
leaves, I think you should be able to leave too.
I
I
want to
agree.
add on to that. I think you're asking a lot for these kids to be committing to going to a school as the thing because a lot of times these coaches sell them on things that aren't true. There are a
That
lot of
is true.
things that are coming in. These coaches are when they're recruiting, they're not using the most authentic of tactics to get these kids to go where they want them to go to get them to go. Like they're manipulating kids into wanting to come to their school. Then a lot of times they're even manipulating the parents. They may be like, "Oh, there's a program at the school that they can learn. They got to do
That's true.
this, that." But then, like at the end, I'm like, "No, that's not the case. It's never always truly 100% for everyone. There are maybe some coaches who love education, maybe some other coaches who love other things, but at the end of the day, you are committing to someone who has sold you on something that you really don't know much about when it
Right,
comes to
and
that
and
college
and
experience.
my cousin that plays college football, Michael Short, he transferred to Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech coach got fired the third game. He got sold on a false dream, and so yes, I think he's okay to transfer from that. His like how your head coach that you committed to in the transfer portal got fired like, by game five. Of yes, you should be able to transfer, and he would end up going to not Tennessee, TCU. And I agree with that. I don't think you should be punished or anything like that. You transfer to that school on a broken promise at that, and then your head coach got fired within 5 games. Yeah.
And we know when it comes to, like, let's be honest, offense and defense, there's so many different schemes. You're trying to get to the NFL, so you want to pick the scheme that gives you the best opportunity. So
Right. So you're
probably
committed to a coach. If you're a defensive back, you're the defensive the DB's coach and the defensive coach are the ones recruiting you. Ain't the head coach. These position coaches are the ones that building a relationship with the players.
if
That's why
if I'm a
then that's why Savion Hitter, the number one running back in his class, waited till the news came out about if Kyle Whittingham was keeping Tony Alford on the coaching staff, which he did, and that's why he's committed. Usually, these position coaches are the ones that are talking to the players, building the relationship. They're not committing to a head coach. They're committing to the position coaches and the Pacific coaches that are helping them become better players.
I'm a
Next
wide
thing,
I'm
next thing
I'm
you know, you're gonna see this.
go ahead.
Next thing you know, you're just gonna see this shit. Excuse my French. You're
What is
just
that
gonna see
shit?
Brutus hitting the transfer portal. Like you're gonna see mascots hitting the transfer portal.
Hey, if he get paid enough, I ain't even gonna be mad at him though.
Here you go.
I got
Listen,
beef with him.
I'm just saying, you're top wide receiver.
Yeah,
And you're
he thought he was slick
right.
what he did this year. I mean last year.
Oh, with the whole drawing the eye in the
Yeah, he thought he was slick. I got some choice words for him.
hey,
You ain't about that life.
Yeah, with Brutus
don't
I
make
am.
us get him
When it
on the
comes to Brutus I am. I'm on that with Brute.
On that note, that'll do it for this episode of 4th and 15. Like to thank LeBron, Anthony, and Davion for being on. Appreciate you guys. Love the talk. Just loved it. Like this was entertaining. Like, thank you guys at home for watching. Don't forget to like and follow us on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. Subscribe on YouTube. Our first documentary is out, but the only way you can watch it is if you're a member. So go ahead, be a member. You can watch that first documentary. We answer some questions about a very good movie that a lot of people ain't watched or haven't watched in years. Next week, I'm I want to talk about something because I don't know if Jacob has experience in this area, but I want to see the debate between you guys. So we'll talk about that off the air. But next week, we're going to have a jam packed show for y'all again. So thank y'all at home for watching. For LeBron, for Jacob, for Anthony and Davion, I'm Mel. Peace.